last thing to get to here, Dia Flip from the high school level, Ohio State. They've had a great recruiting class to this point. We've talked a lot about them, talked a lot about Notre Dame as well. But they flipped a wide receiver in Brock Boyd from TCU, who may remind people of a certain Ohio State coach.
Yeah, put the film on, Pete, so people don't jump on me for this. So when I watched this film, the first thing that popped into my head as a Dolphins fan who watched this guy's career in the pros, which was, by the way, an underrated NFL career. He was really a very, very good player, 1,000-yard receiver. And this is Brian Hartline, right? So the player reminds you of Brian Hartline, and people are going to say he's a white receiver, right? You're just comparing him to Hartline because he's white. But when you actually break it down, this is, Hartline's from Ohio, Brock Boyd's from South Lake Carroll in Texas, but size-wise, they're very similar. They're both 6'2", kind of long and lanky guys. And then they got these strides. Hartline was a good hurdler in high school, also ran the 200, but wasn't as dynamic as Boyd, who he's a 21.77 200-meter guy, which is absolutely flying. As you can see here, there's a little bit of hurdling from Boyd, but this guy's track speed on that in that 200 meters is really unique, and you see it translate to the field. Extremely productive, 1,800 yards. You see him track the ball there. It's not like this is a track athlete playing football. It's a football player that can run track. Brother plays at Texas Tech, number 58 receiver in the country. But I think the fact that Ohio State's recruiting this guy, to me, says a lot more than whatever the ranking says. Then, Hartline was another guy who I think kind of exceeded expectations, certainly at the NFL level. People thought he was one thing, and he showed he was a lot better than they just assumed he was kind of like a try-hard guy. He showed he was a lot better athlete than people thought. I think you're seeing that with Brock Boyd. I mean, look at these strides. Look at the ability to separate there at the end. Now, this is a dynamic player, man. And Ohio State, look.
Big-time program as well that they're recruiting at. So
right, and they don't need to go and get this guy in Texas, right? They can get anybody they want. They're getting this guy because they think he has tremendous upside, and I'm sure Hartline sees a lot of himself in him. It's the speed, man. This is someone who could look at the cushion. Look how fast he eats up this cushion with those strides. I mean, boom. That is elite speed, and he's playing against good competition at South Lake Carroll. But could he help in this aspect, returning? That's another area where Brian Hartline was a pretty good player as a returner. I'm not sure he's on that level. I think probably more of a receiver. But look, right there, Dallas Stadium running an NFL-type route, outbreaking route, making the play. With Hartline's coaching, if this guy's willing to work, and a program like South Lake Carroll, they usually are pretty well coached and pretty willing to work. The sky's the limit, man. I think this could be a guy you look at that catch. See, that's one aspect real quick I want to get into that people don't talk about as much. Rewind that tape if you can, Pete. This is something that LA Rams are really good at finding guys who do this. The ability to catch the ball without losing speed, without slowing down. I mean, look at this. Snatches the ball, and he is still rolling and able to make a move. So I think that's something that a guy like Hartline sees and says, man, if he has that instinctively, I can get him stronger. I can polish the routes. He's already running, he's not just running straight down the field. He is running different kind of routes. But I could polish him up. I can add some weight to him. I can get him closer to 200, which is Hartline's playing weight in the NFL. And I can make something of him. The returning, I don't see a lot of dynamic ability there, although he does have speed. But certainly as a receiver, you see the pieces of an Ohio State receiver. And if you're an Ohio State receiver that plays, that means you're an NFL receiver, right? It's hard to imagine. I can't think of the last, and I'm sure someone in the comments will correct me, but I can't think of the last Ohio State starting receiver that did not play in the NFL. It's not part of the picture.
Not on the cards there.
Yeah. So if this guy can find a way into the starting lineup at Ohio State, which is going to be a tough sledding with some of the guys thereafter, Chris Henry and all those guys committed, it's going to be hard to deny this player. I think look at this nice route there and gets upfield. This could be something that we're not talking about now. 4-star here, but other services have him as a 3-star. If a guy like this, Brock Boyd's got a star name, ends up being a player for Ohio State, he's going to be one of the household names of college football. So we'll see if we look back on this video and say, man, remember when Brock Boyd was still a 3-star recruit and no one knew his name? Brian Hartline gets it done. Really intriguing pickup for Ohio State, and they did it from a position of strength.
Yep, and right now have the number 2 recruiting class in the country, 11 commits on board. So this is what you'd expect from them coming off the national championship. You got a lot to sell right now if you're Ryan Day.
Yeah. 100%. It's good to be an Ohio State fan. We got a lot of Ohio State fans subscribing and checking out our videos. A lot of our best videos are Ohio State videos. So appreciate Buckeye Nation, all you guys do for college football, and really, the passion you have for not just what you see on the field, national championship, but the process, the portal, recruiting. It's a religion up there. And listen, a lot to be excited about. If you're an Ohio State fan, that's an understatement.
Remember to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. College football fans, thank you all for watching today, and we'll have you guys covered throughout this crazy process that is the transfer portal. See you guys tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.